barbaric tribes, or mecca of civilization? Hey guys, welcome back to WatchMojo.com, where today we will be looking at the top 10 facts of Aztec culture. For this list, we will be taking a look at the facts that encompass major themes in Aztec culture, not only so you can gain a more educated opinion on the subject, but so you can brag to your friends that you can pronounce words like Tlacahipaluelitzli and Teotihuacan. And in case you didn't read your history books this week, we'll be taking a look at actual events in Mesoamerican history, so spoiler alert is in order.
Fact 10. Agriculture. More put in than gotten out. The saying, you only get what you put in, isn't always true. Aztecs were the last among the Chichimecs, indigenous groups in Mesoamerica, to arrive in the Valley of Mexico. They did not begin to build their capital city, Tenochtitlan, until 1344 or 1345 AD. As a result, they did not have the first choice in land, or the second, or the third. In fact, they ended up in a marsh. As the Aztec population grew, a larger land base needed to be created. They began to create chinampas, or artificial garden beds, so that they could produce food. This caused the Aztec agricultural system to require an extensive system of dikes, aqueducts, and canals. But despite the work put into this system, domestic agriculture only accounted for 5% of the city's subsistence needs. The rest needed to be imported. A vast system of state-controlled trade emerged that the Aztecs used to acquire the products they needed and to build their empire.
Fact number 10. The Aztecs' next top model showers a lot. So, in the Aztec era, dating criteria was quite different. Aztec men certainly had unconventional standards for choosing their wives instead of judging potential wives on looks and personality. Aztec bachelors looked to something much different, but still more important, as a priority for marriage material: cleanliness. Cleanliness and hygiene was actually a top priority among the Aztec people, and many people bathed once a day or once every few days with fresh water and soap made from the roots of a certain plant. Hygiene was especially important to unmarried women who clean their clothes and in addition to their bodies regularly in hopes to attract a husband. Cleanliness wasn't the only factor in attracting Aztec singles, however. Another standard for women was strict sense of simplicity and modesty, as well as living by certain credences and codes that placed Aztec women perpetually under men. Aztec women also shunned the use of makeup, which was reserved for use by prostitutes, and they pursued a neat and natural appearance.
Hey guys, welcome back to the vlog. So today, day 3, looking for a new wife, and there's actually some girls here. So there's this really dirty looking person, oh my god, and then, whoa, my god, she's like clean and doesn't have dirt all over. You know what? Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you too.
My name's Matt. Oh my gosh, you're my new wife.
Oh my gosh,
Thanks.
cool.
Number 8. The Aztecs gave conquered people autonomy in exchange for human sacrifices. War. War never changes, and the Aztecs were no exception. The Aztecs were primarily a martial society and waged war constantly, with or without reason. After conquering a tribe or city, the Aztecs would grant relative autonomy. The locals would keep their own rulers, which was nice, but it came at a sharp price. The Aztecs demanded massive amounts of tributes, often in the form of people, not for slavery, but rather for sacrifice. Long lines of captives would march to the Aztec temples in order to be sacrificed to the gods. The war machine fueled the religious system, and vice versa. I mean, come on, that doesn't really look fun at all.
Hello there, Aztec army. You are a bold one. Metlatzican! It's over. I have the high ground.
You underestimate my power, Aztec army.
Don't try it. This is for Quetzalcoatl.
Kalima!
Fact number 7. Book burnings were a common event for the Aztecs. Books belittling the culture and values of the Aztecs were burned and replaced by books promoting the Aztec way of life. Some of the books that were burned included the ancient picture writings, many of which were created by enemy tribes of the Aztecs. Books written by people outside of the Aztec society often criticized the values of the Aztecs, which hindered their control over their people. These books specifically were burned due to their negative views on the Aztecs' customs and traditions. As well as burning these books, the Aztecs replaced the books with books that described history in a way that highlighted the power and prestige of the Aztecs.
Priest, these are the latest books from our conquest.
Let's see if they're good. Montezuma II was a badass. Keep it. Aztecs equal losers. Burn. Our amazing history. Ooh, keep that one. Keep that one. Wonderful, wonderful. Let's see these ones. Yes. Aztecs smell bad. That needs to go good, I believe. We love the Aztecs. Now that one must be kept. 10 reasons the Aztecs suck. I'm afraid we don't have room in the library anymore. I think we need to burn it.
Fact number 6. Speaking not so softly. Throughout Mesoamerican society, oral tradition was incredibly important. The skill was taught not only to men, but to women, and the expectation was to be able to dictate and orate your daily needs. This ranged from bartering and ritual to lawsuits and education, which lacked formal texts and rather focused on spoken exchange.
Fact 5. The Aztec economy did not have a unitary system of money. Cacao beans, cotton mantles, quills filled with gold dust, and small copper axes were assigned standardized values and helped to support the markets of the Aztec Empire. In the marketplace, the Aztecs regulated trade through officials who checked on the fairness of transactions between buyers and sellers. This way, trades were generally beneficial to both sides. Another tool of the Aztecs to regulate trade were merchant courts that would hear and rule on disputes between the parties involved.
Slaves here, come get your slaves.
Slaves? I've always needed a slave.
Well, you come to the right place.
I have 500 cacao beans, the market price for a slave.
My slaves are worth 600 cacao beans.
600 cacao beans?
Yes.
Can we make a bargain?
Perhaps half a slave for 500 cacao beans.
Half a slave? Can I get a full one for 1,000 cacao beans?
Do you happen to have a golden plate? I've been looking for golden plates.
Golden plate?
Like a small, circular... Precisely. 1,000 cacao beans and 1 golden plate for 1.5 slaves.
Half a slave? What am I supposed to do with half a slave?
Perhaps she's dead.
Dead? How does that help me?
Well, they're quite popular in the fashion industry. Men, it says here in the market decree that 1 slave is worth exactly 500 cacao beans. This is an unfair deal, and if I catch you with business practices like this again, you will be in her spot as a slave soon, young man. So, hand over the slave for the beans. Come with me, slave. This is just off-brand Nutella!
Fact number 5. Jewelry wear was controlled by the government. Clothing and jewelry were very important status symbols in Aztec culture, and even commoners often owned several ornate pieces. However, there were strict government-issued laws called sumptuary laws that regarded exactly who was allowed to wear what type of jewelry. The amount of jewelry one was wearing indicated their status in society. For example, only rulers and noblemen could wear lip and earplugs. To be caught wearing accessories outside of your class could carry strict punishment.
Brings us to number 3. The Aztecs would capture other civilizations' gods and add them as subservient deities to their pantheon. The Aztecs hardly had an original pantheon of gods. Instead, they relied heavily on their Mesoamerican predecessors, in particular the Toltec civilization and the Teotihuacan civilization. Gods such as Quetzalcoatl were central to the Aztec religion, but were recycled directly from previous situations. Another god, which was high up in the Aztec pantheon, was Huitzilopochtli, patron of the Mexica or Aztec tribe. And this god was unique to the Aztec civilization. When the Aztecs would conquer a region, they were quick to adapt the patron gods of those they conquered to their pantheon, but only in positions subservient to the Aztec gods. This served both as a cultural assimilation technique and as a cultural humiliation technique. The Aztec gods would reign supreme above all other gods. Just look at how many there are. They're so colorful and unique. You know for a fact that Montezuma had a poster like this in his room and checked them off one by one every conquest he got.
Now that we have conquered you, hand over your god. Your god is weak, but a subservient deity to the great Quetzalcoatl. He will serve him for eternity.
Fact number 2. Not only kindergarteners put facts to song. Since most of the Aztecs' culture was passed down through the practices of oral storytelling, memorization played a key factor in the continuation of the Aztecs' ideals. Because of the prevalent storytelling in the Aztecs' culture, memorization of past history was done through the addition of facts to songs. As well as using music to remember their history, the Aztecs used music to connect themselves to their environment and their gods. Finally, the Aztecs discovered that adding beats to speeches made information easier to recall while on stage. The addition of music to learning and memorization enhanced the Aztecs' ability to instill their values in their children and future generations.
Fact number 1. The flaying of men. It is well known that the Aztecs valued the tradition and ritual within their religious practices, but most don't expect these practices to go as far as to gladiatorial combat. From March 4th to the 23rd in our modern calendar, the second month of the Aztec calendar, known as Tlacahipa or the flaying of men, celebrated the coming agricultural season, rebirth of vegetation, and focused on the god Hipa Totec. However, the Aztecs chose a more unorthodox way of going about this, choosing to put prisoners of war and convicts against Aztec warriors and priests with feathered sticks. And furthermore, the skins of these victims would be worn by priests for up to 20 days, letting them dry, shrink, and rot onto the priest before becoming one with his skin.
Kalima!
So, do you agree with our list of top 10 wacky Aztec facts? From fascinating agricultural practices to insane religious customs, the Aztecs were certainly one of the most unique cultures to have ever existed. Despite how violent and barbaric these people may seem, it's important to understand the context in which these cultural acts were committed. Religion, tradition, and years of cultural development all led to the wacky culture that we know today as the Aztecs.